What's up, boys and girls? My name is Christopher Alexander Robert Clark-Youngblood, and today is Sunday, May 3rd. It is 2026. It is 2:28 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, coming to you live and direct from Burbank, California, in the heart of the city of Los Angeles. We keep spinning around the sun. The earth keeps spinning itself. Let's begin this week's podcast episode with our continued study of the cosmic calendar. Each week on the Alex Youngbook podcast, we're going to be studying 1 week of the cosmic calendar. So that's as if we take the 14 billion year history of the universe, divide it by 52 weeks, and study each one of those 52 chunks, which this is way too much. It's already so confusing explaining it. Take each one of those 52 chunks, which equates to 265 million years, roughly, in real time, whatever that means, and then study what happened during that period in the history of our universe. So, in the first episode of this series, I believe it was episode 101, we studied from the Big Bang, the beginning of time, to 265 million years into the universe's history. Week 2, 265 million years plus 265 million years, up to 530 million years roughly into the universe's history. 530 million years to 795 million years last week. And then this week we're going to study 795 to 1 billion 60 million, so roughly 800 million years to 1.1 billion years into the universe's history. All this being a copy, and I'll give you an update, whatever's going on in my life at the end. Let me continue to give the caveat to all of this. Who fucking knows if any of this is accurate or real? The whole history of our existence and scientific investigation and all of that is like knowing more tomorrow than you did yesterday. So who knows if any of this is even, who knows if we're not living in a simulation? Who knows if we're actually like, I don't know, organic biological beings? Who knows if we're actually being like some sort of, intergalactic experiment by some sort of higher extraterrestrial power that's created some sort of experiment world here, who knows if future technology will reveal that the universe is way older than 14 billion years. That's probably accurate. I would actually say that most of the things I say probably will turn out to be inaccurate, which gives me trepidation to say them because not only that, I don't know shit about any of this stuff. I just spent 2 hours reading about cosmology prior to getting then just turning on this fucking laptop. I'm like, I'm about to fucking try to regurgitate whatever the fuck I just read, but I'm gonna give it a shot, and it's really just an attempt in general to understand more about existence and like what is going on in the world. And I want to continue this investigation once we get into like human history, then start reading religious texts. That's going to be the actually interesting stuff. You can bear with me for the next fucking 50 episodes while I try to fucking stammer my way through cosmology and some form of astronomy, retard astronomy that I'm trying to spout here. So and then once we get to the formation of Earth and human history, man, who knows how old humanity actually is? Who knows how we actually evolved? Who knows if we actually evolved from primates? Maybe we are the result of some sort of, once again, alien experimentation with primates. I think there's a solid chance that human beings, Homo sapiens, are the result of like basically aliens injecting their genetics into monkeys or primates, and forming us like a combination of a hybrid monkey alien. I think that's totally possible. And I'm getting I don't know what the conventional dating of humanity, like Homo sapiens, is. I think it's like 500,000 years or something, I think. But dude, I'm getting reports of like 300 million year old wheels, 12 million year old like wheel tracks, so who knows? Maybe humanity is millions of years old. Maybe there was a pre-human intelligent species on this planet that got wiped out by asteroids or just left or lives under the ocean or learned how to fucking transcend dimensions and is no longer here. Who knows? So we're in the coming years and centuries and millennia, we're going to truly discover more and more about the nature of reality. This is just kind of my futile attempt as a relatively uneducated Homo sapien in 2026 trying to figure out what the fuck is going on this rock. So this is the information I have access to, and this is what we got. So week 1, Big Bang, boom, Big Bang happens. This is the creation of all time and space. At this point in the universe's history, everything is extremely hot and extremely dense. It's just the extremely hot and extremely dense nothingness or everythingness, and all of a sudden, I guess, this massive expansion of time and space spreads throughout the universe. This is like, the universe isn't even transparent at this time. It's just like this foggy, not opaque everythingness and nothingness. And as I said, it's extremely hot and extremely dense, and it remains so for millions and millions of years, but it immediately starts like cooling down. It immediately starts expanding infinitely and cooling down as well. At this point in time, the universe is only composed of what is known as quarks and gluons. It's constantly referred to in the literature as like this quark-gluon plasma, this plasmatic soup of these particles that are smaller than the smallest elements we know. It's just these quarks, which are, I guess, the basic building blocks of everything, held together by gluons, and eventually the pressures of gravity and the cooling of the universe causes these quarks and gluons to kind of come together and form the first elements of the universe, helium and hydrogen. And at this point, we don't have much. It's this kind of ionization, I believe, of the formation of the first basic elements, helium and hydrogen, that kind of allows the universe to start giving off light or becoming transparent or visible to us for the first time. I think now with the James Webb's telescope, this telescope that's, the most, I don't know, the highest tech thing that we've got, is, I guess, can see this first initial light of the universe that's known, I believe, as the cosmic microwave background. That's when like the initial elements of the universe start forming. But after this, not much happens. I think that happens like 380,000-ish rough years into the universe's existence, which is extremely early on a relative scale. And after that, not a lot happens in quote unquote week 1 of our experiment for the next couple hundred million years. Not a ton happens. This is known as the cosmic dark ages. You have this rapidly expanding and cooling plasmatic soup, the force of gravity acting on these quarks and gluons, causing the formation of basic elements of helium and hydrogen. And I'm sure there's a lot more going on, but based on what I'm capable of telling you, that's pretty much about it for week 1. Week 2, this is now about 265 million years into 530 million years into the universe's existence. You now start seeing the formation of the first stars, all right? That once again, the constant pressure and pressure of gravity and cooling and this expansion, whatever these forces are. I was actually listening to podcasts this week. They don't even, I'm just saying like gravity, pressure, cooling. Like what the fuck does that mean? How is a star actually formed? But I was listening to a podcast this week with an actual fucking physicist or cosmologist or some fucking doctor and this. They don't even know really how this shit happens. It's like swirling and spiraling and pressure. And so once again, like even some of those educated people really don't know what exactly is happening at the formation of the universe here. But in general, what we see, I guess what we know is that the first stars are being formed. And these are known as population 3 stars. And they're made of only hydrogen and helium, no metals. They're just these giant. They burn extremely hot and extremely fast. They don't live very long compared to normal stars that we know today. They live for like a few million years, I believe, and then they explode. And this explosion is known as a supernova. This supernova releases like massive radiation that acts on the other hydrogen and helium in the universe. This radiation rips an electron from hydrogen and helium atoms, or maybe just helium atoms, and that process is known as reionization. So I guess it's like this boom, this energy that's released from the creation of population 3 stars sorry, someone's calling me. I'll flip that over. That causes like this reionization process was basically I just kind of like energized the universe to form heavier elements. You now see the formulation of carbon and oxygen and iron from the explosion of these population 3 stars. Towards the end of this time, you do not only see the creation of the first stars, population 3 stars, but these stars, I'm like fucking talking to someone on the phone right now. These stars, tell me, Lord Jesus, I'm still recording. Yes. These stars begin clumping together to form the first galaxy-ish formations. These are known as proto-galaxies. These are like baby galaxies, not galaxies with the shape and robustness that we see today, but the initial formation of galaxy-like structures. So week 2, you have the explosion of these the formation of the first stars that are made of purely hydrogen and helium. They explode the supernova. This causes the creation of this release of energy causes the creation of other heavier elements of carbon, oxygen, iron. You start seeing chemistry actually taking place in the universe in week 2, and the basic formation of galaxies. Overview of week 2. Week 3, we've now got about 530 million years up to about 795 million years, about 800 million years into the universe. These proto-galaxies, these small basic galaxies, start colliding together and forming larger galaxies. And now we start seeing the actual structure of the universe that we know today taking form. These spiral-shaped galaxies, larger spiral-shaped galaxies. And these galaxies start to be composed not just of POP3 stars that are made of just hydrogen and helium, but metal-containing stars, population 2 stars, which are, quote-unquote, I guess, like the normal stars, the more common stars that we know today, start to populate these galaxies. At this time, the universe is forming the structure and organization that we know today. I keep seeing reference to this cosmic web. Like the universe starts to take the shape of like a large web, I believe. I don't quite know what that means. There's constant reference to filaments, voids, clusters. So I think there's like strands of stars, then nothingness in between, and then clusters of stars. And I think the universe is basically just kind of like coalescing to take the structure that we know. And the basis, from what I can tell, are these galaxies, these proto-galaxies colliding together to create larger galaxies composed of population 2 stars. And then new for this week, week 4. So now completing basically January, so to speak, on the cosmic calendar. We've got 11 more fucking months to go. But at least now we're entering into the first billion year of the universe's existence. This is basically 800 million years into about 1.1 billion years into the universe's existence. Exactly 795 if we're sticking to the structure of the podcast. 795 million years to 1.06 or 1,060 million years. That was totally unnecessary. Now, the organization of the universe, the galactic structure of it, really solidifies in week 4. It's no longer like the structure of the universe starts to solidify itself, and instead of like forming, it's now evolving. So the galaxies are becoming larger. The spiral-like nature of their existence is forming. At the center of these galaxies, very important here, we start to see the emergence in week 4 of supermassive black holes that are just like eating dust and rock and I guess of like the debris of the galaxy right there in the center. Some of these galaxies, I always like to draw like parallels between life and galaxy formation, human beings and cosmology. And this is something very interesting. These galaxies that now have a black hole at the center, some of them emit quasars. Quasars appear on telescopes as like brighter than the galaxies themselves. And what a quasar is, it's when a black hole at the center of a galaxy is basically overeating. And the energy released from this overeating appears as like this giant jet stream of, I guess, light and brightness on a telescope when you're looking at it. And so it's like these it's like a warning from the galaxy, like, hey, this fucker's eating too much. And it's, it's kind of something we should see. Something we see, I'm trying to think like the parallel here in human society. Like you see that in the individual level, maybe when someone's walking around with too much flashy shit, like, look, this dude's consuming too much. Or maybe politicians or, governmental structures that are like, I don't know. It's like seems like a signal from the universe that someone's consuming too many resources, and I think that you could see perhaps how quasars could form. Individual humans could emit quasars that say they're consuming too much, like their body weight. I probably emit some sort of quasar because I smell like weed all the time, and my eyes are bloodshot. So a failing government—that's a fucking quasar signal. Like, hey, this is not. There's something wrong. This person's something wrong here. I don't know. I'm trying to perhaps draw a stretch of a parallel here, but I think there might be something there. Anyway, week 4, we've got the structure of the universe taking solidifying based on galaxies with black holes at the centers, quasars shooting out of those galaxies if they're like over consuming, and the universe starts to settle down and take like kind of find its roots. The like chaotic nature of its early adolescence is kind of over. We even see the beginning of our own Milky Way during this time, allegedly. Apparently, the oldest stars in our galaxy formed during this time. So it's the beginning of, I guess this is around the time that the Milky Way began forming as well. the process of reionization, which I keep coming across every week, and I have to like wrap my head around it every week. But it's when supernova population 3 stars explode, release radiation. That radiation strips an electron from a neutral hydrogen atom, hydrogen or helium, I can't remember, maybe both. And the stripping of that electron makes that element ionized again, and I guess like ready to mate or something, or become something else, perhaps. I guess ready to like take on other electrons or get attracted to other electrons, perhaps, and then form other elements. Anyway, that kind of process begins to like, I guess, die down or end here. And the universe is now like charged and ready to make life. I guess is like super fertile at this point and like really enriched with all these other heavy elements of oxygen, carbon, and iron. And like the real building blocks of life are now really solidified in week 4. So we've reached 1 billion years into the universe's existence. We've gone from the Big Bang, the quark-gluon plasma, expanding nothingness, everything, this plasmatic soup, to the formations of hydrogen and helium, to the gravity acting on those hydrogen and helium atoms to create population 3 stars. Those population 3 stars burning hot and fast into a supernova, exploding, reionizing the universe, allowing the creation of heavier elements. At the same time, those population 3 stars are coalescing to form basic galactic structure. Those galactic structures are colliding in together to form larger galaxies. Those galaxies are now spinning rapidly into each other to have formed supermassive black holes in the center of those galaxies. In the meantime, population 2 stars are now trying to shape because there's not just hydrogen and helium in the universe anymore. There's carbon and iron and oxygen. The basic structure of the universe is really solidifying. It is solidified, and now it's just evolving, becoming a more mature universe. We even see the formation of our own galaxy taking place in week 4. I think that's kind of a relatively understandable fucking unhinged rant about cosmology. Next week we'll go from we'll get up to basically, I guess, like almost 1.4 billion years into the universe. And I think it'll be like, well, 1/10 of the way into this motherfucker. God damn, dude. This is like, I guess, less intensive and more intensive than I thought. I think I'm like able to retain more information, I thought, or it's more easily accessible. But it's like energy intensive. You know, I'm a fucking nanny, dude. I hang out with kids all day. I don't read or like really use my brain. In that sense. Anyway, speaking of which, that's that. We're going to continue doing this. I'm not going to stop. As insane as I may appear, I'm not going to stop and continue to. We discover when Earth was formed, and then human history, and then, like I said, man, I think that we really misunderstand a lot of this. I'm probably saying a lot of nonsense that's going to turn out to be wrong, and then getting into human history too. You know, that might be. I think that we're way off on that as well. As far as the age. Of our species. As the great Graham Hancock, if you don't know Graham Hancock, go check him out. He's like an expert on, he's really causing everyone to question the age of humanity. It really is. A lot based on like the pyramids and ancient megalithic structures found throughout the world. But he always says everything gets older. So it's like the more we learn, the more we realize that everything is much older than we thought. But maybe Jesus in the Old Testament is right, and that's like a big trick by the devil. And we should just listen to the Old Testament, like God made the world in 7 days or something, 6 days, and like they're old 4,000 years old or whatever. That might be true too. I don't fucking know. But I'm just kind of banking more on the science aspect of it that doesn't dismiss the religious aspect of it. And I really would like to delve into that stuff once I get up into the history of humanity. But for now, we barely had the beginning of the Milky Way. We'll get there with time. We're 18 minutes into this motherfucker. I'll give you a little update on my life. I am employed-ish now, finally. I'm working as a nanny for, I think I may have mentioned this last time, for a 19-month-old here in Burbank. Very cute, awesome kid, very easy, great family. We get along great, but I'm only working like 4 hours a day, 2:30 to 6:30. I train jiu-jitsu in the morning. It's basically my schedule with JoJo and Emmy back in the day, last year, and really the last 3 years, but the compensation structure is different. I don't have, free guest house and food and all that shit. I have, a high hourly rate, being paid $35 an hour cash, which I guess a relatively high hourly rate. But that's not enough 4 hours a week for me to survive and have a comfortable life here in LA. So we're going to, in the like kind of short term, looking to go, just full-time employed in some sort of, probably in that area as well. nannying, something like that. Cash, no paperwork, no bureaucracy. Also really getting interested in working with adults with disabilities. Only problem with this, a lot of paperwork. Shocker. And so I've been in like great contacts with families of adults with disabilities, which quite frankly is probably a better use of my talents and like broader impact on the world. I don't know. Raising kids and having a positive on kids is great too. But I think there's more people that could do that than could like really reach and connect with people that are like have severe autism in their, and I've had the ability to meet with some families recently and really connect with those individuals. And unfortunately, man, it's like I'm not taking $35 an hour and then you're taxing at 25% at the end of the year. It's not fucking happening. It breaks my heart to like have these families really like look in their eyes and look at me for help. And I've had families tell me that they've never had anyone connect with their child like that before. And he's 30, my age, 37-year-old man or whatever. Man, you say out loud, maybe I should just take the job anyway. But anyway, I didn't even not take the job. I just went back multiple of these instances when they're trying to come at me with $35 an hour on paper, tax, and I say, hey, is there any wiggle room here? The problem is there's a middleman. With nannying, you're going straight with the family. Your mom and dad are right there. They're paying you directly. With these adults with disabilities, which I've just kind of stumbled upon, it's because there's disability involved, the federal government. Then there's like these like organization middle. It's like more than middlemen. You got the government kind of pays the check, it seems like, to me. But in between there's usually like this like broker who like finds me. And they're getting money too, dude. So it's just it's not what I want as far as I would love to do the work. It's like teaching. I'd love to do the work, but don't tax my money first off. And secondly, like I don't need 5 different people sending me emails. It's fucking confusing. How much are y'all getting paid? So anyway, I just went to one of the families like, hey, can I get more money? And then she's like, hey, let me go back to the broker. And then all communication shut down from there. Nothing. It's like, well, what are y'all motherfuckers getting paid? I'm the one who's going to do all the work. How about the people sending the emails and like scheduling the Zoom meetings and shit? Anyway. But that's all kind of like shorter term vision. I don't know. And then I just like to get settled with like full-time employment here in Burbank for the next year, and then think about possibly going back to school. Really strongly considering going back to therapy. People like kind of keep reiterating, like to become a talk therapist. I know there's like coaching route, like more like life coaching, which would be much less investment in time and money. I don't know how legitimate that route is. If that's much more of like a marketing hustle. I'm sure, not to say that those people aren't great, but like as far as like establishing a business and an income, it definitely appeals to me more as far as like the education, time, and energy. But anyway, nannying is not a long-term thing. It's the income now. Oh, and my teaching certificates are getting turned back on, so that's always a thing too. Could definitely go back into teaching and just have like know what my day is like, get out of the day early, up early, out of school or out of work early, know when my breaks are, be able to travel in the summer. Who knows? I might go into that. If I do, I'd like to do PE, but in California, it's more certification. Anyway, my Arizona teaching certificate, SPED, both special ed and general education are back on. I now got to transfer them over to California. That's going to take a little bit of time. Hopefully, by the beginning of the school year, I could be a certified teacher in California and give that as an option as well. But also strongly considering going back to school. But in the short term, I was looking to add something in the mornings or something on the weekends. I'm also talking to other families about full-time work. Because like I said, the family I work for now is just after school, is like in the afternoon with their baby. So ideally, I'm already developing a bond with this kid and with the family, and really want to see this kid grow up and play a positive role in his life. But the reality of the circumstances is like if a more lucrative offer comes my way, I have to take it. Like it's not an option. I'm like, we're talking about like feeding yourself at the end of the month. I don't want to keep living off my investments. It's not like, I'm making more money here. It's a good thing for my career. It's like we're just trying to survive at this point. So survive is a relative term in the grand scheme of humanity and planet Earth. But, I'm trying not to I'm trying to, save a little money each month. Anyway, y'all get it. What else is popping? Things with girlfriend are going pretty good. We go through our waves. She's going to move out into a 1-bedroom. The lease on this apartment is ending the end of this month. So she's going to move into a 1-bedroom in June. I'll probably stay for her for a month or two, and then I'll find my own place. But honestly, y'all, I want to get a fucking RV. I want to get a fucking RV. I want to live in an RV. I don't want to live in LA. I don't want to pay rent in LA. I want to have an RV. I want to have my own space. I want to have something that whenever I leave this place in 2 or 3 years, I have. Like, I don't know. It also just, I don't know. Maybe that sounds fucking insane. Maybe that's not practical, and I'm just like have this dream scenario of living in an RV, but I don't know. So, but from there, I got to figure out if I'm literally going to get an RV and like live on the streets of Los Angeles, Southern California, or if I'm going to get like a studio or something around here. Because I'll probably spend most of my time at her place anyway. Her place is going to be nice. I'm not going to have a nice place. Sports, watching sports, NBA, NHL playoffs is cool. I'm like into it. I'm consuming it. But dude, I get obsessed. And it's like so much of a distraction. It's like, who actually is able to consume all these sports? I guess no one really with like a job and kids and a life. I like it though. I really like watching sports. I really would like to coach PE. I really like try to think of like what's my dream kind of scenario of what I think would be like fun and meaningful is like coaching kids sports. And so I don't know. I feel like I've gone over this 1,000 times in the podcast. Seems like a waste of time sometimes, but it does bring me joy and like inspiration. And my number one sport still is MMA. So it will fall in the UFC. Fucking love the UFC. I always talk about this. It's become corporate and sanitized and cookie cutter, but I still love it. And I'm kind of starting to drown out all the media noise, listening to less MMA podcasts, which is like a lot very critical of the UFC. It's like, dude, just give me my fucking fights and entertainment. There's enough going on in the world where, just give me this little bit, this distraction. But I need to be careful that I'm not consuming too much shit, but I want to watch hockey's badass, dude. And the LA Kings in the playoffs, I want to watch their shit. LA, of course, has 2 hockey teams, Anaheim Ducks. I want to watch their shit, and then check out the highlights of the other games. It's like I'm a fucking 12-year-old dude. I'm still walking hours of sports every week. And then training martial arts, of course. I fucked up my toe. I fucked up my toe in jiu-jitsu a few weeks ago. I took several days off, got it x-rayed, not broken, but it's fucked up. It's swollen. I re-injured it a couple times. I must have sprained it. It hurts like a motherfucker, but I'm just going to keep going. There's World Championships on May 22nd in Long Beach for Jiu-Jitsu World League. It's close. I don't feel great in the gym right now. I've been eating so much fucking ice cream. My diet has not been great. My toe's a little fucked up. I'm still like performing well in the gym, both gi and no gi jiu-jitsu, but not. I just don't feel like I quite have the gi. Like I'm like peaking. I feel like I'm like kind of out of shape. And definitely not in like tournament with the form I'd want to be in a tournament. We'll see how this week goes, and then potentially I would sign up. But really, their target is September, early September. I think it's 4th and 5th. IBJJF World Championships, Masters Worlds, gi and no gi. I want to become a world champion. I legitimately think we can win gi and no gi world championship. That is my goal. Blue belt. Let's fucking do it. Training kickboxing as well. Really want to focus on jiu-jitsu world championships first, and then after that, I really want to do an MMA fight by the time I'm 40, or maybe like when I'm 40. By the time I'm 40, before I'm 41, let's call it that. Before I'm 41. So yeah, that's like where I'm spending my time. I'm doing yoga in the gym, going to work, watching sports, hang out with the girlfriend, and that's my life. And I'll really make a concerted effort to get back to y'all once a week. I think it's been about once every 2 weeks, which is really going to drag out this fucking project. But I really need to be more consistent. Say that all the time too. I haven't done mushrooms, and I don't think I did mushrooms at all in the month of April. Excuse me, I'm fucking drooling myself. I'm running low on my own personal mushrooms, but that I grow. But I've found multiple sources in LA, so there's no excuse. I need to get out in the woods and do mushrooms. I'm going to do that next week. I'm making a promise to myself, unless something crazy comes up, work or something, I need to get out in the woods and do a relatively heavy mushroom trip next weekend. Reset my mind, my perspective, download some information from the universe. That's that. I'll try to come back to y'all next week. Hopefully off that mushroom trip. My goal will be try to do mushrooms Saturday, I believe, and then do another one of these motherfuckers on Sunday. I love you all. Hope you have a great week, great lives. I wish you the best. Namaste. What else can I say that's motivational? Go Lakers. I don't fucking know. I love you all. Bye.